Welcome to part 2 of the Academic Writing Task 1 tutorial. This is the first of two writing models based on the housing prices graph and table in part 1. In part 1 of the tutorial on housing prices, we examined this IELTS writing task. If you have not looked at part 1, we recommend that you do so before viewing part 2. Let's begin by reading the introductory paragraph. The line graph details percentage change in house prices over a 10-year period for 4 countries, namely Australia, UK, Canada and Japan, while the table of data supplements the information about Australia by comparing average wages and house prices. Now let's look at the paragraph. The introductory paragraph must give an overview of all the information given. Note the linking word. Aim for complex, not simple sentences. Firstly, let's read through paragraph 2. What is very significant about changes in house prices in the 4 countries over the decade is that houses in Japan declined sharply in value, falling by 40%. This contrasts very strongly with Australia. The latter did see a marginal drop in house prices from 2000 to 2002, but the next 2 years experienced very strong growth. After a stable period lasting 4 years, Australian house prices doubled in value, so that over the whole period house prices in Australia recorded growth of 120%. Note the structuring of information. Japan and Australia are grouped together, and a clear contrast is made. Remember to include some significant data in your description, for example 40%, 120%. Include time references such as dates and make sure you use linking words and phrases. Here's the third paragraph to read through first. Similarly, the UK saw a considerable increase in the value of houses. From 2000 to 2008, house prices more than doubled, but after that fell sharply. Canada also stands in sharp contrast because it is the only country where house price growth was regular. Here, 2 more countries are grouped, but a link is made with the previous paragraph. Do not overload the description with too much data. Often describing a relationship, for example, more than doubled, is enough rather than giving exact numbers on every occasion. Finally, here's our paragraph about the table. The table of data shows that the 120% change in house prices in Australia was from $250,000 to more than $500,000. However, average annual wages during that time only increased by about 50%. The effect of this is that in 2000, house prices equated to 570% of the yearly wage, while 10 years later that figure had climbed considerably to 780%. Note that because there is only a small amount of data, we use all. Again, describe relationships between the data as opposed to simply stating the numbers. That concludes part 2 of the tutorial, Writing Model 1. If you want more help with your IELTS, please go to our site www.eslfree.com.